For today's video, I picked out 10 books with my favorite book openings, and these are just ones that I felt like really resonated with me, or I just felt like they were really strong and they made me want to continue reading the book. So the first book is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board. For some, they come in with the tide. For others, they sail forever on the horizon, never out of sight, never landing until the watcher turns his eyes away in resignation, his dreams mocked to death by time. That is the life of men. Now women forget all those things they don't want to remember, and remember everything they don't want to forget. The dream is the truth. Then they act and do things accordingly. Next is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. The places we are born come back. They disguise themselves as migraines, stomachaches, insomnia. They are the way we sometimes wake falling, fumbling for the bedside lamp, certain everything we built has gone in the night. We become strangers to the places we are born. They would not recognize us, but we will always recognize them. They are marrow to us. They are bred into us. If we were turned inside out, there would be maps cut into the wrong side of our skin, just so we could find our way back. Except, cut wrong side into my skin are not canals and train tracks and a boat, but always you. This was one of the first books I read this year, and even though I didn't particularly like it, the writing was beautiful and the beginning was really strong, and so for that I decided to include it in the video regardless. Next is Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. On the day they were going to kill him, Santiago Nassar got up at 5:30 in the morning to wait for the boat the bishop was coming on. So I decided to include that sentence just because that sentence and the title of this book, I just felt like it was a really bold move from the author, because a lot of the times when we read books, part of the mystery and you not knowing what's going to happen is the appeal of wanting to continue to read it. But what this author did was he revealed a really significant part, and he was still able to keep you as the reader hooked throughout the story. I just really respected that. I thought it was really cool and it really worked with the themes that were portrayed in this book. Next is Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. I learned about a lot of things in medical school, but mortality wasn't one of them. Although I was given a dry, leathery corpse to dissect in my first term, that was solely a way to learn about human anatomy. Our textbooks had almost nothing on aging or frailty or dying, how the process unfolds, how people experience the end of their lives, and how it affects those around them seemed beside the point. The way we saw it, and the way our professors saw it, the purpose of medical schooling was to teach how to save lives, not how to tend to their demise. I just finished my 5th year of medical school, and that paragraph really resonated with me. This entire book really forced me to reflect on my mortality, and I recommend it to everyone regardless of whether or not you're in the medical field. Next is Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Call me Jonah. My parents did, or nearly did. They called me John. Jonah, John. If I had been a Sam, I would have been a Jonah still. Not because I have been unlucky for others, but because somebody or something has compelled me to be certain places at certain times, without fail. Conveniences and motives, both conventional and bizarre, have been provided, and according to plan, at each appointed second, at each appointed place, this Jonah was there. Listen, when I was a younger man, 2 wives ago, 250,000 cigarettes ago, 3,000 quarts of booze ago, when I was a much younger man, I began to collect material for a book to be called The Day the World Ended. I really like this book. I tend to really enjoy books that discuss heavy topics with a really cheerful, funny tone, and this was definitely a book that did that, and it did it well. Next is Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. Tyler gets me a job as a waiter. After that, Tyler's pushing a gun in my mouth and saying, The first step to eternal life is you have to die. I like that line. I felt like it was funny. I thought that it set the tone and atmosphere really well right away. Next is The Stranger by Albert Camus. Mama died today, or yesterday maybe, I don't know. I got a telegram from the home. Mother deceased. Funeral tomorrow. Faithfully yours. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was yesterday. Next is Death Note. Same old thing, day after day. What a bore. This world is a rotten mess. Next is Colorless Sakura Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage by Haruki Murakami. From July of his sophomore year in college until the following January, all Sakura Tazaki could think about was dying. He turned 20 during this time, but this special watershed, becoming an adult, meant nothing. Taking his own life seemed the most natural solution, and even now he couldn't say why he hadn't taken this final step. Crossing that threshold between life and death would have been easier than swallowing down a slick, raw egg. Next is At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. I am forced into speech because men of science have refused to follow my advice without knowing why. This sentence just really made me curious about what it was that this man was saying against his will, and what horrors had he witnessed that he wouldn't want to repeat it to anyone else. Next is The Martian by Andy Weir, and I just felt like this was a really funny start to a book. I'm pretty much fucked. That's my considered opinion. Fucked. 6 days into what should be the greatest month of my life, and it's turned into a nightmare. And those are all the books. Thank you for watching.